he is our sole candidate for 2023.
chokwadi pasi pano taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kuti vamwe tioneswe moto dai pasina kupindira kwaishe chokwadi pasi pano taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kuti vamwe tioneswe moto dai pasina kupindira kwaishe kana dzimba dzedu dzingadai dziri dzavo mawanzira vanoita dzimba.
Zimbabwe heads for elections in 2023. Now we here on Heart and Soul TV and radio, we are talking the road to election. Is it going to be a bumpy ride? Is it going to be a peaceful election that we are expecting? Now just behind me is the ZANU-PF Congress that is happening as they prepare for elections. As you can see, a lot of cars are here. Delegates from across the country have come as ZANU-PF prepares for what could be a defining moment. Retention of power and the final term for President Emmerson Mnangagwa, because the Constitution allows 2 5-year terms for any candidate. Nelson Chamisa of the CCC is breathing hard behind his neck. He wants to upstage the power that be. He wants to take presidency and walk to State House. Now on this, the road to 2023, we ventilate, we discuss, we talk about the issues that should concern you. No voice will not be heard. Everyone has a right to be heard here on Heart and Soul TV and radio in proud partnership with CAS. We take you on this road to elections. With me, your host as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Thank you for joining me.
We spoke to ZANU-PF Director of Information Tafadzwa Mogwadi on the sidelines of the party congress. The big issues around the elections have been the growing fears around violence, independence of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and the integrity of institutions like police in managing polls. These are the views which he shared. You are having your Congress. What are your expectations?
Of course, the obvious expectation is that this is a Congress of delegates of the party from the grassroots to the top. And it happens once in 5 years. And that is why it is such important. The Congress will take stock of the journey that the party has traveled from the previous Congress to this one. To take stock in terms of whether the party has been clear and working exactly according to the lane that it set off itself back then at the previous Congress. And the second thing, of course, very highly anticipated, and of course one that makes us so happy, and of course every delegate happy, as you have seen the mood here, it is that the Congress, as it roars into motion, has secured the candidature of President Emmerson Mnangagwa to the 2023 harmonized elections, and also most importantly to remain as the president and first secretary of the party. That is quite a very huge expectation. Of course already secured. Now you are aware that the conferences of the Youth League have resolved the same. Conferences of the Women's League have resolved the same.
All our departments are geared towards our goal, 5 million votes for the president in the forthcoming elections. As women, we have set ourselves a target of at least 3 million votes for the president. And I am happy to announce to this conference that we are well on course to surpass that.
Conferences of the War Veterans League have resolved the same.
And the sterling work you continue to do for our great nation under the new dispensation. The new dispensation has indeed persevered despite the illegal economic sanctions imposed by the nations hostile to Zimbabwe. We are the living example of the selfless sacrifice for the independence of our country. We are embedded in the present through the Second Republic and indeed part of the Vision 2023 and beyond. As war veterans, we remain united and fully in support of your candidature in view of the 2023. We say we are the force of the past, power of the present, inspiration of the future.
All our 10 provincial coordinating committees have resolved the same. All our district structures have resolved the same to the cell. So it is a clear vote of confidence to the president in terms of the Second Republic and the work that it is prepared to account for in terms of what they have done. I need not say much on that one. The Mabasa Jacob Anostariza Oga.
The expectation is fostering of unity among party delegates, members, supporters, and friends. Secondly, obviously, progressive policies that will build the party and the nation and Africa at large. What else? Obviously, the refreshing of leadership. We have got new members, new leaders in the Central Committee, in the Politburo, so it re-energizes the party.
Well, normally it is the head that gives direction. In a train, the train head will have to pull all the other wagons that follow. The president has set the campaign tone. He has given the do's and the don'ts, and that is exactly what we are going to do. The war veterans are the backbone of the party. They are the bedrock upon which ZANU-PF built itself upon. They are the custodians of the Zimbabwean revolution. What it means is that they underwent political orientation and have the revolutionary principles within them. They had an opportunity to go and try to implement those principles, and the interaction between the enemy that we were fighting and the people produces a new political position. It is in the head of the war veterans. It's now their duty to go to the people, because they are the force of the past, to be able to tell the people where we came from, and then we'll be able to tell them what we have now as an inspiration for tomorrow. So this is what we are going to tell our people as we organize them.
Well, Tavaoneta Congress yedu 7th National People's Congress yedu ZANU-PF, and I think inini ndrukufara chaizvo nekuti Congress yedu yatipa simba nekuti tichinotanga kurova basa sebasa. Tatichita hedu basa nechakare, asi taita kunge tanyatso kupinzwa kurohwa futi nerimwe Jackson na president vedu His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, vataindosa kuti ndiwo chete vatiri kuda as the sole presidential candidate wedu weZANU-PF for the 2023 harmonized election, uyezve variwo president and first secretary vedu veZANU-PF. Zviri zvinhu zvatakatotsigira isuwo futi seMashonaland and West. I'm happy to say kuti izvo tanga tiri takaitwawo party yedu yekutsigira mutungamiriri vedu Baba Idi Mnangagwa. Ndiri kuona kuti after Congress pane a sense and a unity yatadzoserwa zvakare na president yatiri kubva nayo panapa, yekuti patiri kudzokera kumaprovince kwedu takunoita basa sebasa, taudzwa kuti iwe neni tine basa. Naizvozvo isusu takunoishanda basa remobilization yekukampenera president neparty nerecruitment, nekuti tiri kufanira kugamuchira munhu wese. President vataura chenga wose mananga hapana risina mhodzi. Naizvozvo ndozvatinofanirwa kuonekwa tichiita, nekuti kana tichida 5 million tinofanirwa kuonekwa isusu tichitambira vanhu vanenge vachida kuuya kumusangano wedu wekuZANU-PF tese hanzi tinokwana momwe ZANU-PF. Handiti nai saka naizvozvo tese munhu wese can come from wherever, any level yauri in life, whether you are poor, you are rich, you are what, you can come. ZANU-PF has a place for you. And ndizvo zvinhu zvandanzwa kuti izvo tanyatso kugamuchidzwa kuCongress, uye pane zvavataura zvakakosha. Kwanzi ZANU-PF ndeye avo vakaifira. Handiti nai kuti tinge tine party yeZANU-PF pane vanhu vakatoifira, ndeyedu isusu vapenyu, saka tinofanira kunge tichichengetedza, nekuti takaigamuchidzwa iri mhenyu. Isusu tinofanira kuramba tinayo iri mhenyu, tichizogamuchidza the next generation vana vedu iri alive. ZANU-PF will not die. ZANU-PF will never die. Kunyange isusu tikafa, asi party inoramba ichiendera mberi. Saka izvozvo ndofunga ndizvo zvatinofanira kuramba tichiisa mupfungwa dzedu nemuhana dzedu, kuti patinenge tichiita basa remusangano tinofanira kuziva kuti tiri kuita kuti irambe iri alive. It will never ever die. Izvozvo zvinhu zvatifadza chaizvo. There are so many takeaways from this Congress atapiwa. Mumwe nemumwe pane chaatotora, pane zvaanzwa, nemabasa ese ari kuitwa na president wedu Idi Mnangagwa ari kuonekwa. Mabasa ese hazvisi zvekudzwa, asi tikuzviona nemaziso edu. Saka there is so much to talk about. And uyezve pane zvandafarira kuti izvo mainitials avo ekuti ED zvanzi na vice president vachiwenga zvinoreva kuti Emerson delivers. And izvozvo ichokwadi, president vedu ED vanodeliver, and he delivers, he has delivered. And you know what, we are so happy because all the past resolutions that we had, taona kuti izvo ese tachipamatiki kuti done, ongoing, done. So what else can we ask for but to be proud and happy of our president, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, for the kind of man that he is, the leadership skills that he is giving to us. It's a gift he's giving to us. We must learn as the generation iri kutera tichitora the way that his work ethic tinofanira kunge tichitorawo nekuti if you realize kuti vanga vanesu right through the Congress, even patakapedza kuma-10 he was there, he never left us and he was strong. Saka izvozvo tinofanira kuita take ningirikini a leaf from that page yekuti izvo ivo kana vachizvikwanisa isusu tinotadza nekuteera mumatsimba avo.
Since your party has already decided its 2023 candidate, what is your road to elections like from here on?
Well, it's very clear. In fact, the road to elections is already started. What Congress will do is to perfect the road, and it is also to clear hurdles along the way, and most importantly, to give us a message. You know, we don't speak what we think, we speak what delegates of the Congress would have resolved. Those resolutions are the verses and chapters guiding our conduct as party officials and guiding our pronouncements and guiding, of course, our path to the elections, to say what is it that we are going to take to the people, how far have we gone in implementing the People's Manifesto of 2018, where they set clear a cocktail of promises to the people of Zimbabwe. And if you look at our manifesto, there are two things about our manifesto. It's either a project or the projects so promised they have been completed, or are work in progress and some towarding completion. So it is such important that going to this Congress, we are filled with joy and so much enthusiasm. And that is no wonder why the mood.
There is a revolutionary principle that requires us to go down to the smallest unit of people and explain to them. It is a strategy that we adopted during the liberation struggle, that we should be able to be talking to a much smaller group of people and tell them. It is called the principle of democratic centralism. We go down to the people to explain to them and give them the roadmap, the objectives of the party, where we came them, so that people will not vote unknowingly, but they will consciously do that when they have the correct political altitude. They will vote with an understanding of what they are doing in the revolution.
We want to construct a new campaign road. Our highway is Vision 2030. Currently on National Development Strategy 1 and 2, infrastructure development, massive infrastructure development, building of dams, bringing 5G network. So, ZANU-PF was the Second Republic was in power, and President Mnangagwa has been in power. We have been walking on the same road called the economic revolution.
There have been complaints around the independence of ZIC. Does that concern you?
Well, I've said ZANU-PF's election manual is premised on delivery and service servant leadership. Service delivery to the people through servant leadership. This is what the president has said. And in delivering that service and giving that bonus of servant leadership, the president goes on to say, no one and no place must be left behind. And that only ourselves can build this country. Now all these mantras do not require the assistance of any other organization, be it ZECO or something else, for the colossal party to win elections. No, we have done our homework. The by-elections that we have just concluded are a strong indicator about the character of results in 2023. If you are still expecting any shockers, then I'm sorry. But if you have watched the signal we have received from these by-elections, from both wards to constituents level, they are a clear testimony that indeed the nation is walking living, breathing ZANU-PF. That ZANU-PF and President Mnangagwa's mantra of development are a way of living. ZANU-PF, by the way, begins at family level. So with all that structure, with all that revolutionary structure, who can stop the train? No one, of course, will agree. But do we need the assistance of ZEC to win elections? Why? The purposes of our structure on the ground is to take charge of mobilization. And mobilization for the Revolutionary Party is a continuous process, all year in, out. That is why we now have a National Cell Day to take stock of our membership, to take stock of our structures through the Commissariat Department. I'm sure you are aware. That is why we are the only political movement with a clear, distinct structure of mobilization that is found in every part of the nation. You cannot deny that. But that is also found beyond the borders of the nation. That is as far as ZANU-PF is organized. So those complaining about ZEC, we are used to them. They have done that before. And the purpose they do that is not that ZEC is not independent or that ZEC doesn't do its work properly. No. It is such that when they are defeated, whenever they are facing the imminence of electoral walloping, they start casting aspersions to try to create a necessary bed for frivolous justifications of a loss or explanations to an impending loss. Now, I can't aid them to do that, and I'm sure the party does not need to aid them to do that.
Taona Mabasa ZEC, we have seen what ZEC is doing. ZEC has proved that they are not ready to run a general election. Why? We see that they have not availed the voters' roll that is supposed to be availed. We see that they have not proved to pass the critical test that they are supposed to pass. The integrity test, the professionalism test, the accountability test, the constitutionality test, but more importantly, they have to pass this test of being non-partisan. ZEC has really ZANU-PF Electoral Commission or ZANU-PF Electoral Committee. ZEC is not a Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. B for Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF is just a denominator, just like CCC. The common denominator is Zimbabwe. It is really fair. ZEC must not be an extension of ZANU-PF.
A loser must even write books of complaints. It's normal, it's expected. The same people who complain when they win, they don't complain and scream louder than when they lose. So we are so used to lose. The behavior of losers in Zimbabwe is known, is predictable, so it's fine.
Well, we know that government and all other political parties agreed to the creation of ZEC. And it is my hope it is an efficient, professional organ of government that is charged with the responsibility to administer the processes of democracy in the country. And I have confidence in them. Allow them to do their job.
Inini ZEC kona kwangu apana chairi kutadza. ZEC iri kuita zvinhu zviri fair. ZEC is an independent body. ZEC does not get influence from anybody. Ndio vanorana ma-elections edu, ndio vanoita basa rese maringe nezvema-elections. Saka naizvozvo, there are no complaints, especially isusu from Mashonaland West, apana patiri kuti izvo vakatikanganisira kwete, asi kutoti tiri kufara nebasa ravari kuita and putting everything together and making sure kuti the 2023 harmonized elections achafamba mune zvakanaka. Saka I do not have any complaints regarding the way ZEC is being run. It's being run by vanhu vari professional and zviri kuranwa independently, no influence from anybody. But iwo vakamira nebasa ravo nemandate yavo yekudeliver elections kwatiri when we are ready to go for elections.
Many fear a violent and bloody 2023. What's your take?
Those are the fears we have seen expressed at Newsday, and I don't know where they are getting those fears. If you look at the quarters where those fears are, you can feel, really that these are not nationally shared fears. These are parts of those aspersions which are being cast, so that when somebody reaches his political Waterloo in 2023 and gets fallen and no more to rise again, they will say either it was violence, or that the media was not free, or that ZANU-PF was stole elections, or that ZEC was aiding ZANU-PF, or that security forces were doing this. These are the things that we are now used to, by the way. You are not breaking news by that question. We are aware about what they say. And that is why, if you want to go by what we have seen on the ground rather than the fiction we see getting written, those who are supposedly feigning ignorance and trying to cast aspersions about potential violence in 2023 are the ones talking violence in their conduct day in and day out. Watch their rallies, watch their tongue. It is them, Triple C, who was talking violence. When a lady was killed in Nyatsime there, who went on a rampage to destroy people's homes, burning people's houses, arsoning vehicles, destroying shops, beating people wantonly? Who did that? You know who did that. But of course, would you want to write about it? For one reason or the other, your guess is as good as mine. But you know what I'm talking is a fact. Just 2 weeks ago, they killed Mavangira at Mbare Mpeza Namos market there. They did. They killed a ZANU-PF official there, fighting for space. And what was the silence from the media all about? It is such that CCC violence should be glorified. It should be nurtured. It must be cast in good light. And that is the victims of ZANU-PF victims of violence. When a ZANU-PF person is a victim of such violence from Triple C, so said that the ZANU-PF person is treated as a person with no rights. And it has been created so a narrative that rights only exist in the opposition. And those belonging to the ruling party have no rights. They have no human rights. When they die, it's just that ordinary day. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It doesn't deserve a headline. Those who have killed them do not need condemnation from your media. When it's supposedly or allegedly ZANU-PF, it should be headlines, black, big, bold headlines all over. But who are we helping in doing that? Nobody. We are stoking violence in doing so as the media. And that is why we are appealing for a reform of the mind from practitioners in the media to be truthful and abandon fictitious reportage. No one glorifies violence. Everyone can be a victim. No one is a master of violence. That is why President Mnangagwa, our candidate, is very clear day in, day out that the party must never use violence. There is no justification whatsoever in the process of mobilization of votes. We appeal the opposition to correspond to that message.
A state of your mind is an opinion. When you hear violence, you are trying to predict, trying to prophesize. Since we are in a land blessed with the prophets, when everyone assumes to be a prophet, that's not bad. It's not a crime. Expectations / opinions are not.
It's neither here nor there. We are the people who held the guns yesterday. We did not, there's nothing like that. If you use a gun and somebody else does not understand, then it doesn't mean that you'll accompany to the ballot box. It's not correct. After all, the political consciousness of a nation is determined by the political lessons that they are given. So we do not know or may not want to talk about blood. No man goes to war and would want to go back to the war again. The war veterans have been there and we feel that's enough. We don't need to go back to the war again. We need to proceed with what we were charged with, the principle of teaching our people, educating our people, and organizing them so that they will vote wisely.
There's no need for violence or having a bloody 2023. The President, Dr. Mnangagwa, has spoken about how we should be peaceful. And that is one of my anchors is ZANU-PF. Unity, peace, development. Saka ukaona usingade peace, tovunza kuti uri mwana weZANU-PF ere. Saka nekuti it's in us, it's inborn. And President Havas could have anything to do with violence. And why should we fear when we know that we are a colossal party? Party yevanhu, hapana chekutya. Chatingatotaura ndechekuti ma-opposition ndo vangato incite violence. Voda kuita kunge because ivo vanenge vachitya, saka vanenge vachida kuincite violence iyoyo kuti zvinzi ZANU-PF iri kuita zveviolence. Nyambisirwa hakuna violence inenge ichitwa neZANU-PF. We are peaceful, tino campaign peacefully. Zvese zvatechita it's peaceful. And ivo vanenge vachitokonya sekuona kwatakazvita muna 2018 vaitokonya kuti izvo tiirapte. But no, President Mnangagwa kept telling us no violence, no violence, no violence. And that ndo zvatinofamba nazvo izvozvo. Isu tinoda peace munyika medu meZimbabwe. Hatidi any blood to be spilled or anything like that. Saka we shall be very vigilant. Kuona ma elements arikuda kuunza violence, ma elements arikuda kuti paite bloodshed. It's an election, it's not a war. And you know what? When one wins an election, they don't complain. But when they lose, they've got complaints. Isuzu hatitye ZANU-PF. Anditi nai. We know where we are going, we know where we are coming from, and we know what we are going to achieve. 5 million votes for ZANU-PF and President Mnangagwa. Saka izvozvo it's a given, and we are not scared. Avari kutya ma-opposition, ma-CCC, ma-MDC ndo vanenge vachitya nekuti vari kuziva kuti izvo kukamanyati.
Chamisa says he will win 2023. He says he will be your president. What's your take?
I thought if you go by what he says, you would understand that after 2018, when he lost the presidency, he claimed that he is the president. But now you have it. Is he the president of the republic? Is he a president anyway? You probably cannot guess properly, isn't it? But he went about swearing himself as the so-called people's president. Didn't he do that? Trying to create another Odinga in himself. And of course, by the way, you know, Odinga also did the same. And he said that he will be president of Kenya by this year. And you know the hurricanes that happened in Kenya and how he was swept by the currents. You can expect nothing more than just the same for the young men and these ambitions.
2018, takamroa akanoponera kuna Malawa. Ndosaka makona kuti Malawa ngaramba aripochera akura. Zvino gore rino handisi kuenda kukoti. Ndoda kuti ndamurowa ndiye anoenda kukoti. Kweteni.
People are allowed to dream, but those are just whistles in a graveyard. People are allowed to dream, but those are just whistles in a graveyard. You must forget and smile.
He's mad, he's confused, because the same electoral processes that are being conducted by ZEC is the same processes he's condemning. It's like they are pro-ZANU-PF. But on the other end, he is claiming to be, you become a president through ZEC. That's madness. That's a proof that he would never be a president because he doesn't know himself, he doesn't know his country, he doesn't know systems, he doesn't respect institutions that he would beg to give him power. Pure madness, and he will never be a president.
The president has been very clear. A person can go from Zimbabwe to China by foot, but he will be the first to arrive before they can even get closer to State House, notwithstanding that their offices could be just 1 kilometer away from State House. That alone is a very big statement anyway. You go and research about it.
munyika muno, we will never allow an election that is rigged. Never again is an election going to be rigged. Never again is a 2018 going to be repeated. Ika zino ndinenge ndiriko kumberi, vamwe motevera. Hakuna ma elections anobiwa munyika muno.
Well, it's very clear. In fact, the road to elections is already started. What Congress will do is to perfect the road, and it is also to clear hurdles along the way, and most importantly, to give us a message. You know, we don't speak what we think, we speak what delegates of the Congress would have resolved. Those resolutions are the verses and chapters guiding our conduct as party officials, and guiding our pronouncements, and guiding, of course, our path to the elections, to say what is it that we are going to take to the people. How far have we gone in implementing the People's Manifesto of 2018? Well, they set clear a cocktail of promises to the people of Zimbabwe. And if you look at our manifesto, there are two things about our manifesto. It's either a project or the projects so promised they have been completed, or are work in progress and some towarding completion. So it is such important that going to this Congress, we are filled with joy and so much enthusiasm. And that is no wonder why the mood.
If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. And he must wish himself, but let me assure you, he should be able to see differently when he sees the war veterans back again in the political arena. We are the people who defeated Ian Smith, and you know how big and how strong Ian Smith was. We defeated him. What about the little boy Chamisa? How can he do it? He might not achieve anything. We are there on the ground. We will meet him, and against the strategies that we've used before, I think if he matches that, then he will consider himself greater than ZANU-PF. But ZANU-PF is the people of Zimbabwe. Remember, ZANU-PF is the people of Zimbabwe. You cannot be greater than the people. And we are aware that MDC is our erstwhile enemy proxy. They are not a political party.
That's the joke of the year. And we're coming to the end of the year. I mean, let's just look at this. What does young Nelson Chamisa have to offer to Zimbabwe? You know, some of these dreams that we have as young people, they are lovely when you're dreaming. Because wakarara. As when you wake up, you have to face the reality. And the reality on the ground is, it's a pie in the sky. And you know what? This party, ZANU-PF, is just not a party yakangotanga from nowhere. ZANU-PF ndeyeropa. Ndo yakaunza rusununguko rwatiri kuenjoya. Rusununguko rwaari kuenjoya iye. Handiti nai. Asi nhasi ari kuda kushora. Nhasi ari kuda kutaura kutisho. Ada kutonga nyika ino yeZimbabwe. Ngatonge kumba kwake, mukadzi wake, nemhuri yake pamwe nekudzinza kwake. Asi Zimbabwe. Handida hangu kuzonyanyomuseka pakamera, asi that is the joke of the year. And he must reconsider, and perhaps he should actually be a person anofana kuzvininipisa otodzoka kungaona ari kudzoka one. Let him be a returnee. We will accept him with open arms. Kuti aiwa wauya wadzoka kumusha. Handiti nai. Saka asi zvokuti ndichatonga Zimbabwe akomanaka vanhu ngatisatambe nenyika. Handitika ende ngatisingangotaura zviroto. Zvimwe zviroto hazvifanirwi kungotaurwa so nekuti zvo ngazvigare zviri zviroto.
The record of the Second Republic in its first instance as the ruling party of Zimbabwe is there for all to see. It is resonating with the electorate in many more ways than one. We now have a mushrooming of many support groups who are not necessarily members of the party, or who may not even be interested to become members of the party, but they are just chuffed by what the president is doing, and they want to associate with his economic development agenda. This is a good thing we are riding upon, because it has a bearing on the party as we go towards harmonized elections next year.
Dear comrades, we recognize and applaud the growing visibility of the party that has seen the rise of vibrant affiliate organizations such as Young Women for ED, Young Men Believed, Teachers for ED, Farmers for ED, Ambassadors for ED, Organization for ED, Mawindi for ED, my apostle for ED, my pastor for ED, everybody for ED.
President Emerson is going for broke, looking to galvanize support outside their party structures. He has been doing rallies at apostolic shrines, gathering teachers, pastors, and even appointing former opposition leaders in top government posts and independent commissions.
Ndafamba rwendo basi ndinowa ndichiregwa zvose zvandaiudza ndichifamba nemazvo. Saka zivai kuti aiwa isu sehurumende tinovimba kuti kereke ine mushando mukati menyika yeZimbabwe. Kereke ine basa rakakosha munyika yeZimbabwe. Toda runyararo, toda kubatana, toda kuwirirana mukati meZimbabwe. Hatidi mhere. Towirirana, tosumudzirana tese tichanda pamwe chete. Ndichakutsigirai pane zvese zvamuri kushuva kuvaka sehurumende. Kereke, hongu vazhinji kana mukataura nyaya dzekereke vanongofunga kunamata. Zvino haiwa kunamata hongu muno kunamata asi muri kuvaka nyika yokwenyu. Saka ndoda kutenda atungamiri venyu nemwi mose nokuti ivo voga havana chavangaita musingavatsigiri. The theme of this year's annual conference, this particular conference, is peace. Commendation of heroes of Zion who preach peace, unity, and this is what we are remembering today. This speaks most appropriately to the life story of Reverend Samuel Mutendi and the overall national agenda. And our national agenda is peace. Samuel Mutendi akaparidza rudo norunyararo.
Non-governmental organizations have become a target and chiefs an instrument for the ruling ZANU-PF, with Mnangagwa using rallies to go after NGOs accused of being regime change agents, while at the same time, chiefs have been urged to work for his victory.
Ma-NGO munomunyika vanenge vari muno vanenge vadarika murayiro watakabvumira kuti vaite munyika muno, I will chase them away. Ndichavadzinga muno munyika. They must just do what they profess, what they declared they want to do in this country. We can do without them.
Isu ibo banapa atafana kutombonzi solidarity isusu inofana kunzi varidzi vambotaura. Yeah, next time because munotifananidzawo nevamwe isi takatisiyanei tinouya savaridzi venyaya imimi. The reason for existence of ZANU-PF it's all about traditional leadership. It's about injustice. vanhu vamambo ndo vanga vatatambura pamupafunge ipapo. Saka isu tinouya sevaridzi vezau next time munonyora kuti uyai varidzi kuconference. No ndo chokwadi. This party is ours. My whole vet from today. Imi muri shareholders. We are the owners. All veterans are shareholders. Then my members. My members, my shareholders. Those who are the those are conditions upon the buy one queens of my court. The buy one queens of my Chito Sungwa, Wakabiri Paya, and the Border Gumira.
Takasununguranyika nokurwa vakomana nevasikana vakawanda vakaparara kuhondo. Tikawirirana tiri kuhondo kana tazosungunuka toda kushanda navabereki, toda kushanda namadzimambo munyika vachitiudza tsika chitonga. Zvino ukaona mambo anotonga nyika opesana nehurumende inotonga nyika yose kuti mambo anotonga dunhu, opesana nehurumende inotonga nyika oti kwati kwati kama opposition asine nyika mambo iyeye anenge achifanira kuwana nguva yokumboisa rukweza mumvura romera roita chimera, ozobika kadoro kuti mudzimi mandira shireiko kusaziva kuti hurumende ina nani.
Until the nomination court seats, there is no telling who will be the candidates. But so far, the race seems set between ED and NC.
Because it looks like that the elections are going to be a washout against the ill-organized, against the unorganized and unorganizable Triple-C opposition. Not they are unorganized, but they are also unorganized by self-confession. They don't want. What is out there is to try to denigrate the democratic process of Zimbabwe. There are provocations which are going on. There are incidents which are happening in Matebeleland 2 days ago, which are reminiscent of what happened in Nyatsime, where people are trying to provoke intra-party violence, intra-community animosities. We again call upon the Triple-C to desist from that kind of conduct. It will not help them. We are a state which was founded on the basis of an armed struggle. We know discipline. We know how to handle violence. We handled the violence of the Ian Smith, which was much more potent and formidable, and we overcame.
They are asking for our structures. Why do you want our structures? We have not asked for yours. Why are you so generous to want us to be so structured so that we defeat you? We want to defeat you structurally. Without any structure, we will defeat you. Our structure is known by ourselves and will not be commandeered into doing what you want us to do. We are a citizen movement.
Kumasero anamai kumasero amai umesirika terera kumasero samba yekutanga samba yekutanga terera una kumasero samba yekutanga ofetika terera kumasero yekutanga.
Ndinonzwa hasha kunzwa kugumbuka kuti isusu takaenda musango kurwa hondo toya tombunyikidzwa. Atidi upenyu hwekumbunyikidzwa, upenyu hwokuita kuudzirwa nevana vadiki, vana vakazvarwa nezuro uno. Tiri kuti pasina zvezvozvo. Atidi kuudzwa zvekuita. Nyika iyi yakasununguka, yakarwiwa, tikatora rusununguko. Zvese zvavari kuita zvekufurirana tiri kuti pasi nazvo ZANU-PF ichafa ichitonga.
ZANU-PF has said they will not employ violence, pledging to respect the electorate and voters ahead of the 2023 general elections. Muchangwa gave the assurances.
We attach value to the voluntary association of the membership with the party. We don't take our membership for granted, neither do we take our electorate for granted.
However, the Gokwe and Matombo by-elections show that words and actions are miles apart.
The theme of our conference, of our Congress, it's an elective Congress. That's why I said this is the last meeting of this Politburo. Afterwards, this Politburo will have to be dissolved, and the new one will be taking its place, and it will be coming from the Central Committee, which has just been chosen. I do have the full list of the people who were chosen as the Central Committee. It will be available.
Congress did one thing, to affirm Mnangagwa as the ZANU-PF sole candidate for the 2023 general elections, setting the stage for a bruising battle for State House.
The party membership, through its structures and leagues, has already clearly and thunderously endorsed Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa as the President and First Secretary and as the sole presidential candidate for the ruling party ZANU-PF in the 2023 harmonized elections. People have thus spoken. Let their will be obeyed so that His Excellency Comrade Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa can take us to the Zimbabwe we envision. He is the one and only candidate that we know. Shumba Murambwi Weshambo Chena deserves another opportunity to lead us to the next level.
Mnangagwa, after being handed the obvious, spoke about peace and non-violence. It remains to be seen if the words will match the actions in 2023.
Let us continue moving forward, serving our people wholeheartedly for a higher quality of life. Never grow tired of preaching unity. Never grow tired of preaching peace. And never grow tired of preaching love. Never grow tired of preaching harmony among our people. We reject violence. We reject violence and declare it alien. It is alien to our custom. It is alien to ZANU-PF. We want to build a prosperous, peaceful Zimbabwe.
Thank you for joining us on this, your HSTV News and Current Affairs. Now, this was and this is the road to elections, the road to 2023. Now, this platform has been created to discuss the electoral issues that will affect the elections. The so what about our elections in proud partnership with Konrad Adenauer-Stiftung. We will continue to engage with electoral stakeholders, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, the political parties, you, the viewers, mostly who vote in these elections. This is the road to election. This is me, your host as usual, Dara B, bringing you the conversations that matter on Heart and Soul TV and radio. Until next time, thank you for joining me.
Chokwadi pasi pano, taiona moto.